Let's have a look at some of the dailies this morning, and we'll start with Nigerian Tribune. U.S. French military bases, CUPP, MBF, ex-DSS boss, others caution FG. That's a big lead on the front page. And then beneath that lead story, how we will tackle illegal miners ascribed to the EFCC to stop FG's loss of $9 billion annually, sets up mining monitoring sections in all formations. We've convicted 4 Chinese illegal miners in Ilorin ascribed to the spokesman. So some of these Chinese just carrying out these things with reckless abandon. So the commission plans to clamp down on all of that moving forward. So that is how Nigerian Tribune reports this morning. But from then on to Vanguard newspaper, local firms, IOCs, to bid for 12 onshore, 7 deep offshore oil blocks. As a lead right there. And beneath that, you see marketers remain upbeat as petrol scarcity enters 3rd week. Wow. So that's the reporting there. Have a look at The Guardian. Banks, others shop for over 3 trillion naira from broke investors' lean market. And they've got a tab there in terms of figures ascribed to the financial institutions on the front page. They equally report lingering fuel crisis, worsening capacity utilization, productivity, says NECA. Yeah. And then you see Daily Times. Tinubu's son on Shagori's board, a conflict of interest, ascribed to Atiku, says investors can't come to Nigeria through propaganda. Abuja Inquirer. Coastal Highway. Again, Atiku attacks Tinubu as Ohanaeze seeks Umahi Obi dialogue. I guess maybe if they see if they can resolve whatever is going on there. Nigerian News Direct also focusing on the same Lagos-Calabar Highway. Atiku faults FG's demolition of properties, accuses Tinubu of prioritizing business over public good, says demolition of landmark, others unfriendly to foreign investors. Says 1 trillion naira released without approval, accuses FG of financial recklessness. So that's how the paper leads. Blueprint, Serap to court. Order Wike, Sani, others to account for 5.9 billion naira, $4.6 billion loans. One's details of letters, tenures, agreements published. That's the front page of Blueprint here this morning. And so from then on, we'll take you to Daily Trust. NAF airstrikes kill many terrorists in Borno, Niger. The Nigerian Observer, more costs peep in as GSM networks press for higher tariffs, backed by experts, industry statistics. And then New Telegraph, spin doctors kickstart early campaigns as race for 2027 presidency begins. No vacancy in the villa, APC declares. So those are some of the front pages, guys.
The Nigerian Tribune, and right above the nameplate is at that, because you know, one of the things that we usually talk about is collaboration. Collaboration. While all of the noise and all of the conversations about the minimum wage is ongoing, the question we want to ask is exactly how are we carrying all the various critical stakeholders on? I know we're going to have conversation around that later on this morning, but NECA, right above the nameplate of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, is making a promise. It says we will support wage increase on a particular condition. What that condition is, I guess you have to see on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Now, questions abound as to exactly how many people are affected by the wage increase. When the federal government says there's been a wage increase, what's the percentage of Nigerians or people in the labor movement or in the workforce, people who are of working age and who actually have jobs, whether fully employed or semi-employed or whichever way, are actually affected by that wage increase? And we all know that once there is a wage increase, so many other things will increase automatically. And there has also been a reference to the poverty figures that may grow as a result of the increase in the prices of stuff, which will naturally reduce the buying power of Nigerians. I hope all of these conversations are being factored in. If NECA is making this condition, it'll be interesting actually to find out. I don't want to be a spoiler this morning. It'll be interesting to find out exactly what NECA's take is on wage increase or salary increase for their own workers as the people in the organized private sector. But that's my take this morning.
Yeah. I think what stood out for me in the papers today is the Daily Trust newspaper. And that's, I think why it stood out for me was because I was watching the morning brief and I saw Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet, that's a spokesperson of Nigerian Air Force. They have an anniversary coming up. I think it's the Nigerian Air Force at 60 or 50. I'm sure I'll get that figure correctly. But the Nigerian Air Force is 60, yeah? Nigerian Air Force airstrikes kill many terrorists in Borno and Niger. That's from the Daily Trust newspaper today. More on that from page 4. And you know, I heard him talking about how the media doesn't help. He was saying the media doesn't give them the support that they need. We do. We do. We just call out things as they happen. If it's good, we say it's good. If it's bad, we say it's bad.
What kind of support are they looking for?
Well, you know, I do get it though. Being a military kid myself, I know that the troops really feed on the mood of the nation towards them. The things that they see online, you know, the rhetorics they hear when they listen to the news and things like that. I know that, you know, troops on the ground, they feed off of these things. So we're going to just do that today.
How come they don't, since if they feed off that, why is it that they've not done, or what have they done, or why is it that whatever they're doing about improving military-civil relations is usually very challenging?
Exactly.
They always are as though it's us and them. You see them like, brutalize civilians on a regular basis.
And then information, access to information on things is usually, we have to wait for press releases. And I remember, you know, this conversation coming up one time at some lecture that I held in Abuja here. And the speaker at the lecture was talking about how, look, access to information is crucial for us to be able to help you. You want the media to be on your side. You want us to cheer you on. Okay, so give us access to information. The problem is there are too many mistakes. And I was listening to Kayode talking on the morning brief this morning. Very pertinent question. What happens to the air surveillance when kidnappings happen? We hear about people being kidnapped in hundreds. How are they ferried across? Are they using bikes? Is there some big car? If there is proper Air Force surveillance, these things shouldn't be able to happen. Although he did explain sometimes the casualties, we have to look at safety first, but there has to be some way, you know, to get this done. What happens, and it seems like the media is not on the side of the military, like you said, is that there's that divide, us versus them. And then we ask you questions about things that seem a little crazy to the regular mind, that we don't get the explanations that we need. But we are supporting them today. Wow. Kudos to Hadinkai.
Yeah, but you know,
and Well Punch in the north. Kudos to them for all the work that they've done.
Yeah, I mean, of course. But you know, the challenge there too is they need to go back and look at some of the very basics, right from kinds of training that the military give to their people at the NDA. Ditto Police Academy. What orientation do they have? Why is it that when you're in uniform, they feel as though you have to trample upon civilians? Why do you always look as if, oh, you're down there, we are up here, it's our way or the highway? Times have changed.
Yes, it's the hangover from the military regime.
We're no longer in that era.
It's the hangover from it.
There are generations who know absolutely nothing about that era, and you have to deal with them. They're citizens, so you have to re-engage, retool, look at how you do things, because look, technology now is way beyond what it used to be before. Some of the capabilities they have, they need to change something. So if they feel they're not getting the kind of support, they need to go back. They're the ones who, strategy, a word that's actually ascribed to military on a regular basis, so they need to go back there, because I mean, in several master's programs, you see fine military officers who are doing the same program. So they have trained personnel. Oh, yes. They have them in the service. So they need to find a way.
I think maybe the ones that engage, the ones that engage with the citizenry, of course, you know, you talked about brutality of citizens.
Yeah.
The ones that engage have to have a special kind of training. I know that they do, but they have to make it better, where they don't come off as the enemy of the people.
And it's not just the military. You see that with police. You see that with NSCDC. As long as you give any of them uniform, there's a spirit that takes over them when they have to relate with civilians. That has to change. Yeah. Because if that doesn't change, that mindset, it will be difficult. It will be difficult. So just two sides, basically. All right, so there you go. That wraps it up. But look at some of the dailies here this morning.